rest of the episode actually panned out pretty well for me that I saw.
No, I think, like I said, I started this one. It was a great finale. The rest of the episode, I think, was great. I don't even think this was so bad. My real issue isn't that the Mandalorians got beat or whatever, that Mando consistently gets beat. It's that they're shoving down our throats that how great they are just to beat them all the time. You know, let's take this out of Star Wars for a second and put this into wrestling. If I told you that Hulk Hogan was the greatest wrestler of all time and every match you ever saw he lost, you'd think I was crazy. You know, you have to win to be great. So this idea, like, it's just the shoving down your throat of how great they are, and they're doing it so that when they lose, it looks big. But they're making them lose, or they're being at a disadvantage far too often to make the other side look good. And back in wrestling terms, basically what they're doing is they're feeding a comeback. So what happens is when you watch a wrestling match, the good guy usually gets beat up a lot, right? He gets beat up for a while, and then eventually the heel, the bad guy, has to feed the comeback. And to do that, he has to take a whole lot of bumps. And he has to be able to take a bump, get up, take a bump, get up, take a bump, get up. And if you can't do that, you're not a good heel because you can't feed the comeback. What they're doing with Mandalorian is the same thing. He's taking his licks, then he's destroying a bunch of them. Moving on to the next fight. Getting beat up, then winning. Getting beat up, and then winning. That's great in wrestling. It works in wrestling. It doesn't work for the greatest fighters ever. And they're pumping up the greatest fighters ever too much that he needs an easy win. And he doesn't get one this season.
Well, let me ask you this. Putting all the battles he's had aside, let's say this, okay, not putting all the battles aside, putting half the battles aside, and with episode 8 being the penultimate episode, being the end of the season, he comes out. Granted, he's on a team. Would you still feel the same way if the greatest of all time actually comes out the winner in the end? Would you feel the same minus half the battles? If you understand where I'm coming from with this.
I have no idea where you're coming from.
Okay, so it's he's supposed to be the greatest, but he's lost every time. Okay.
Well, I mean, he ends up winning, but he's getting beat up pretty badly before he wins.
Okay.
So what you're saying is if you only look at half of the fights...
Right, if you only look at half of the fights...
He still lost all those.
Okay. No, you're right. In my head, I was trying to make sense of it, but I was doing.
He started off all of them losing. Right. He didn't lose the fights, but he starts off all of them taking licks, with the exception of the very first fight we see him in, where he beats up a bar of people. He has never just walked in and been like, I'm going to mess that guy up, and mess that guy up.
Maybe the way that they're trying to, I don't know. I'm not a writer, so I
do
don't.
Backflips. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to do backflips. I'm just okay. Maybe I'll do one. I don't know. Maybe they just turn him out to be, the hero just because the heroes lose, but every time. No, I get it. It's he's got to win at least one.
Yeah, easily. I mean, look, he wins them all in the end, which is the point they're trying to get to. But nothing comes easy. If you go look at stories of old knights, go look at old cowboy movies. Look, in cowboy movies, the white hat doesn't get shot in the shoulder before winning. He just wins.
Hey, Shane got shot and he walked away.
Yeah, well.
Shane! Come back, Shane!
Oh, boy. Moving along in this episode. So what are some of your high points of this episode?
Giancarlo Esposito. I think he's been known to play the bad guy in some of the films and some of the movies he's been in. He plays the ultimate bad guy. He plays the ultimate Sith, the ultimate black hat, burn down the house. He knows every one of who he's facing. He rattles them off by name. He rattles off the Mandalorian's name, rattles off Kara's name, rattles off Apollo Creed's name, which we find out Apollo Creed was a politician before he became a scoundrel. That's him coming out and him in the battle in the end. That was the best part of the show for me. And second runner-up would have to be the dumb IG-11 becoming the sacrificial angel, saving our heroes. But I really enjoyed Giancarlo Esposito as the ultimate Batman, for sure.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I mean, we should have talked about him when we talked about episode 7, but he portrays this character perfectly. He's very arrogant, very cocky. He like you said, he knows things about people that he probably shouldn't, but he does, like Mando's real name, which is cool because then it gives us an idea of where he came from, because Mando basically says he wouldn't know that unless he had been
he was there
to the archives.
Yeah, he was there,
which foreshadows the fact that all the Mandalorian are going to be dead.
Yes. So he put out. He
coming
put
from
out
that point, but we didn't.
He puts out the hit on him, and that's what it is. Is he planned the whole thing? So he.
Yeah, and we don't. By the end of it, we still don't get why he wants Baby Yoda so bad.
No, and I think this is. I think we kind of get away from that because of the way Giancarlo Esposito plays the character and focuses on our heroes outside of Baby Yoda. I think we're torn away from that just for that scene and the battle. But like you says, hopefully we'll get an explanation in season 2.
Well, and I think it's a good sign because I know you don't like suspense, but the truth is now we know we're still going to have Baby Yoda. And I had said this earlier, I thought Baby Yoda would be done this season. But clearly not, because we still don't know why they're after him, and we still haven't dispatched with the person who's really after him.
Yeah, I think the we know the person who's really after him is Giancarlo Esposito's character.
We know who, not why.
But not why, correct.
And we didn't get rid of him.
No, we didn't.
So he's going to be coming back for Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Did you think he had a lightsaber or a Pirates of the Caribbean sword? When he cuts himself out of the TIE fighter, and he gets crashed in,
right?
And he comes and he cuts himself out. I have friends of mine who thinks it's a lightsaber, but if you look at it in a frame, it looks like to be a light sword or a pirate sword per se. It could be what they call in games, in the Star Wars games, a vibro sword, which is not a lesser, but a more caveman type sword. That's what I think.
That's a good question.
To me, that's what it seems, because a lightsaber, the way it's fit, the lightsaber is thin, and of course it lights up. But the way Giancarlo has his sword, it's kind of like a upside down triangle, or almost like a Pirates of the Caribbean type sword that's just lit around. But can that be another type of lightsaber? Who knows? I mean, because you do have Kylo Ren and his sword, the way he pans it out, because that's the way he built it.
So, right. I mean, obviously we can have different lightsabers. So so I'm just going to share a screen with you real quick.
Sure.
You're talking about this, right?
Let me see. Hold on. Yes. If you look at it, yeah. If you look at it when he cuts it out and he first steps out, it doesn't look like a lightsaber to me. Maybe they did some. That's the way it didn't look to me.
See, to me, I don't know. I didn't even think of a possibility of a different type of sword. I just thought lightsaber. And in this particular picture, that's a white lightsaber.
Yeah. But when he cuts,
what does white mean?
I don't know.
You know, because all the lightsaber colors have different meanings. Like purple was you were almost bad, but you weren't, and red means you're dark side.
Right. Blue means you're the light side. Green means you're a guardian.
Right.
You know.
I don't know what a white lightsaber means, but
I know it would mean money if you were trying to get it in Jedi Fallen Order, but that's just that. That's another story. But again, it's this. The ultimate black hat comes in. We don't know why he wants him. We still don't know why. We may not even know why in season 2. It's just going to drag on, which is all right with me as long as we still have the ultimate black hat chasing after our heroes. I thought the battle, although, I thought the battle was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was very well done. I thought the scenes were well done. I thought, I thought Mando tried to go and sacrifice himself, and he knows he's supposed to die because this is the way. Let me die. But, no, I can't let you die. That's not in my nature. I'm supposed to take care of you, says the IG-11.
Right. I mean, because otherwise we have no show.
Right. Well, maybe, Gina Carano could put on the helmet.
Yeah.
She could put on the helmet. But I think really, the whole episode comes down to the battle. Baby Yoda's thrown aside. Not literally thrown aside, listeners, but Baby Yoda's thrown aside to get more character development to the other characters. It's very rare we get character development at the end of the season, but with this here, I think it really does shut some doors and opens new ones for some of our
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, when you have an 8-episode season, we're really talking about a test season, right? So the end or the middle of season 2 is really going to be what should have been the end of season 1.
Agreed.
So that's why I think we'll finally get an answer on Yoda, Baby Yoda, mid-season 2. But
really, let's get into this here. We've talked about it before. This show is an 8-plot show. 32 to 38 minutes an episode.
Yep.
Is this the new format for next season? We don't know. Is this only because it's 8 episodes because it's a character-driven show, as Mandalorian being the main character, who we want to see, how he is, who he is? Maybe. But I really think, how much story can you tell? That's the main thing. And it's the main thing with most of these shows is, what does it take to tell a story?
Yeah, I guess, but let's be real, too. When you give those numbers, right, 8 episodes, averaging about 34 minutes an episode. You can cut 8 minutes out of 2 episodes and make 1 episode, and that would have been a 4-episode season.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, this was like a test run. This is let's hope this works. We've never made a show strictly for streaming, so let's try it. And I think it was an absolute success, so it's going to continue, but it was a half a season. I mean,
I could see that. I think, but my big thing is, what does it take to tell a story?
Yeah, I know, I understand that,
Yeah.
but okay, but you could have made each one of these 2 episodes 1 almost everywhere, except for episode 6, which was a standalone from everything else.
Correct.
You could have taken 7 and 8 and crushed them together. You could have taken 1 and 2, crushed them together. So now we're already down to just 6 episodes.
But I think why they did it was just to get the numbers. That's why they made them single episodes, just to get numbers up, just to put out for the week.
Right. Exactly. It's a test season.
Yeah. it's done. The testing is done, and the fans have spoken, and this is the way. And Baby Yoda's on the market.
And if they were selling any kind of merchandise, they'd be selling millions of dollars of it.
Yes, you're right. There's going to be merchandise. We see it on social media all the time. Who's making drinks looking like Baby Yoda? Who's knitting Baby Yoda? Who's doing it? The merchandise is going to come out. But will we see a Mandalorian? That's the question. The whole focus is on Baby Yoda, but will we see a Mandalorian? Yeah.
Absolutely. There'll definitely be action figures, statues, all kinds of stuff. They'd be crazy not to.
I wonder if it's going to be like I wonder if it's going to be like